Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. So today we're going to share a few words from the Zohar, volume 18, portion of Shlach Lecha, and the very first verse, starting there. וידבר השם אל משה לאמור, שלח לך אנשים ויתור את ארץ כנען, וגומר. רבי חייא פתח, המימיך ציווית בוקר, ידיעתה השחר, מקומו שחר כתבהי, התרחקה משחר, מ"ט, אלא אמר רבי חייא, בשעתה דנתה. ערב ושמשה נטה למעל, כדן התחלש תוקפה, כדן שלטה, שמאלה ומשתך אחת דינה בעלמה, והתפשט וכדן באה, ברנש לצלעה ולכוונה ואותה קמה מערה. Ellen?
And Hashem spoke to Moses, saying, send you men that they may spy out the land of Canaan. Rabbi Chiya opened the discussion saying, have you commanded the morning since your days began and caused day spring to know its place? It is written day spring without the hay. Hay has been far from dawn. What is the reason? Rabbi Chiya says, when the evening shadows lengthen and the sun, that is Zerin Pin, begins to set, meaning after midday, the strength of the sun is less powerful, which is Zerin Pin. This is when the left rules and judgment prevails and spreads over the world. Then a person is required to pray and direct his desire to his master.
דאמר רבי יסע, כד נטה שמשה והתחלש כדן התפטר, חד פתיחו בשמשה, והתקניש חלה, ושמאלה שליט ויצחק קרא, ברע תחותה.
As Rabbi Yesa said, when the sun is about to set, that is Zerin Pin, and losing its strength, meaning past midday, an aperture in the sun opens. The door of the domination of the left and the sun's power is gathered in, that is Zerin Pin and the central column, and the left reigns. Isaac, who is the left column, digs a well underneath it, which is Malchut, that suckles from the left, and then he establishes her.
כיוון דאלליה, פתקה דקוטפה באחמתה שכיחה, וכמה חבילין טריקן, התפשטו בעלמה וכלהו, שתן בערבוביה, ואזלה וחייכן, בנפשן דרשיה, ומודיעין, לון מילין מנהון כדיוון ומנהון קשות. ומן דאשתכח בניהו, התייהיב לון, רשו לחבלה וכולהו בני עלמה, נעימין ותאמין טעמה דמותה והה או קימנה.
When the night falls, the written edicts are in their pockets. Many harmful demons spread out in the world, which all roam around in confusion. They go about and mock at the souls of the wicked and inform them of various matters, some false and some true. If any person is found among them, they are given permission to do harm. Everyone is sleeping and tasting the taste of death, as we have already heard.
ככה זה, כד התאר רוח צפון כדן התקבלה כנסת ישראל בשמאלה, והתחברו כחדה ושריה בדרועה, בהתראה וקודשה בריחו-עתה. להשתעשע עם צדיקיה, דיב גינתה דעדן וכדן כל מן, דהתאר למילה, באור הייתה בהוא שעתה. השתתף בעדה בגין דהי, וכל אוכלוסין דילה, משבחן למלכה, הילה וכל אינון דהשתכחו, בתושבחתה דאורייתה כולהו כתיבין בבנה, החלה ויקרון בישמהון, ואילן רשימין בממה.
Come and see. When the north wind stirs, the congregation of Israel, which is Malchut, is received by the left of Zerin Pin. They join together, and she rests in her place in the left arm, and the Holy One, blessed be he, comes to delight himself with the righteous who are in the Garden of Eden. Sorry, I'm walking in the stairs. Whoever is awakened to study the Torah during that period is participating with Malchut, because she and all of her multitudes praise the High King who is there in Pin. All who are present at the praising of the Torah are registered among the inhabitants of the temple and are proclaimed by their names. These are recorded during the daytime. That is, they are registered to receive chesedim, which is the quality of day, which is Zerampin.
Thank you. Reading this entire portion is really fascinating because it deals with things that we're not necessarily talking about or discussing amongst friends, dinner time or whatnot. He talks about all sorts of forces, angelic forces. He talks about demons. He talks about, especially during the time of night, which is considered, according to the Zohar, a time of negativity. It is also the time that the body goes to sleep. The body goes to sleep does not mean that the soul is going to sleep. The body is going to rest. But that is a fragile time for those that are awake in this time. And so we can take multitude of examples how most of scenes or disconnect are done or made during the nightlife or nighttime. You know, when people go party or people go to clubs or people, you know, all sorts of things. And those, I can't really say that those temptations do not exist during daytime, but it just seems that it's not as like the classical momentum for you know, negative energies to attack human beings. For those that are fragile and have all sorts of disorders, they would have, you know, these attacks 24/7. But when you go to work, for example, you go to the office, or you are really keeping yourself busy during the day, your mind is just, you know, in motion, really busy at being busy with all sorts of things. And naturally, when the night comes, the mind is resting. And so you can sort of like picture that when the night falls, you have like your legs on the couch, you're going to turn on the TV or watching a movie, drink a glass of wine or whatever, or have like a nice evening with your friends or something like that. Like the mind is not like in the go get motion that is during the daytime. The daytime is represented by the energy of Zeir Anpin. It is represented by the light force of the sun, and that sort of, you know, gives us a projection of what, you know, daylight is not just, you know, it's also a metaphor for the spiritual realm, where you could even have like movies that are made, you know, about like, you know, vampires and all sorts of demons, etc., that cannot stand daylight, right? Like if you open the windows to a vampire, you know, this is how one of the ways that you kill a vampire. A vampire is, you know, it's a very old caricature that is not just, you know, like from the Disney movies or from Hollywood or things like that. There are descriptions of a vampire, maybe not exactly like the vampire, like, you know, like in the movies, but spirits or negative forces that are vampires. And what are they after? They're not after blood, but they can be after our energy. And so you can have spirits that are vampires, but you can also have people that are connecting to this. They're not vampires, but they can be in tune with that energy, vampiric energy. How do you know this? You can have, connections, coffee break, going out for vacation, on a trip, on an airplane, all sorts of, different scenario where you see it like amongst, I would say like, normal people for the sake of the example. And, you won't exactly like feel anything special. But there are those times, and thanks God that they are more rare than natural. There are those times that you meet this person either on transit or for coffee or whatnot, or a client or something like that. And that's going to be like from the five first minutes, you just literally feel your energy literally sucked out of you. And you can't wait for this encounter to finish. Like you're looking at the watch, like when is this torture going to be over? So even if we're not exactly like speaking those words, and we, like maybe like something like this like happened like so long ago, you just want to forget about it. And only now that we are talking about it, maybe like some memories come out. Oh yeah, I remember this and that, and this person or that meeting happened, and I felt exactly like that. But the one thing that you want to do is just forget about it, because it was so unpleasant to get your energy, your life force being sucked out of you is not a good feeling. And so we can have people that are like that, and maybe it's just like a phase, an episode that a person is going through, a lot of drama, divorce, some loss of work, loss of money, all sorts of things like that. And a person can be like super depressed. And so, like when a person is in that motion or in that state of mind, and is going to meet somebody who is like, super hype and positive and ambitious and excited, you can spend, like 5 minutes with a person that's really down. His energy is going to take you down together, because like when we say like attracts like, it works most of the time this way. There are some exceptions that the opposite attracts to, but most of the time is like attracts like. So what does it mean? It means that if you're hype and you're hyper and you're positive and you're ambitious and you're full of hope and dreams and whatnot, and you have this relationship, either a one-time relationship or an ongoing relationship. Sometimes we are stuck in that relationship and there is nothing we can do about it, because it's a family member or it's a neighbor or whatever, and that can just experience one time to like repetitively, and you see exactly what I'm talking about, like the vampiric energy. And this, when the Zohar talks about this type of spirit or individuals, an individual can connect or be possessed also by that energy of vampirism, and is just going to carry this with him, and until the person does some holistic spiritual work to get out of this, to overcome this. It can be challenging. It's challenging. Can you imagine, like, if it's challenging for you that you just met this person once, how challenging that is for a person that carries that. So when we're talking about like those different things that the Zohar is referring to, the easiest thing to do is to be like the ostrich, like to put our head in the sand and do like this type of energies, forces do not exist, and just roam over the earth and do what we're busy with, what makes us feel, semi-comfortable or semi-happy or semi-whatnot, whatever. And we just, we can't really naturally deal with those energies and forces, because it's just simply too overwhelming. And so, but the least that we can do is acknowledge that this is going on just everywhere around us. If today you had a great day, but there was, like 5 minutes that something caught your attention and you remembered something that happened like 48 hours ago. And just for the time, for like 2 or 3 minutes, like this memory just took you to a very dark place. And it wasn't very nice because it got you really aggravated and upset. That is a force. It's not you. That is a force that is seeking energy, and we are basically the batteries for these different spirits, different stuck energies, stuck souls that are hovering over the earth. Now it can be, wherever you are sitting right now, or it can also be that you walk inside a store that you've never been to, and there is like a really like negative, toxic ambience between the coworkers, and this fighting, this jealousy, this manipulation, one causes the other. So it's not about like who's at fault. But if you are a sensitive or semi-sensitive individual, you could just walk inside a place that you've never been to, and your sixth sense is telling you something is off in this place. I really don't feel comfortable. In the same way that you went in, you just want to get out as soon as possible. Happened to me many times. And sometimes when I don't have a choice because we're going a place and there are many stores, but we need to go to that store, like it happens a lot in malls, or we just went to a place where there was like arcades, and I felt the same way. It's usually like when there is like a lot of people, and if a lot of people are like, like they're just like window shopping and they can't afford it, and they see like all the people going in and all the people going out, and they get into all these, negative movies and jealousy and evil eye, and this energy just you had a thought, you put it out there, but it stays there. We can't for 1 second think that we're thinking something and then we can be just irresponsible and just forget about it. We are creating like all these bubbles, all these like these clouds of energy, and we are birthing them. We are the creators of all these bubbles of energy, and wherever we go, we just drop like like a chicken is like laying an egg, and it's just that instead of an egg, it's like a bubble of energy. And so imagine that when you are consolidating all these negative energies, it creates something that is, let's say, like a more intense, and that energy that is more intense can invite something that is superior, such as like an evil spirit. The Zohar calls it a demon, or let's just call it like the negatives. And those negatives just afterwards have a tendency to receive the okay, to attack people, and that's when we get attacked. So I mean, there are certainly, I'm certain that there are rules to when we get attacked and how to not get attacked. I'm not familiar with all of them. Obviously, when we pray, when we scan, when we share, when we surround ourselves with positivity and optimism, etc., it creates bubbles of protection. But we need to know, like the Zohar, and you've heard, especially if you've studied Kabbalah for a while, you know that the environment is very decisive or detrimental to your spiritual growth. So you could be like somebody that's super spiritual, super optimistic, and super generous, and you just want to go to places and help out people. And the Zohar countless of times says, you put a tzaddik, a righteous individual, surrounded by wicked people. Wicked people doesn't mean necessarily evil. It's just people that are not spiritual. You put a righteous person like in the midst of a bunch of people that are not spiritual, the consciousness, the level of elevation of the righteous would go down because of the like attracts like. And so this is why it's so important for us to choose our environment. We've said this lesson quite often. And going back to what the Zohar is saying is that one of the ways that we can remedy, for instance, if it happens to you for no given reasons that you wake up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe there are forces that are disturbing your sleep, or you woke up from an agitated dream or whatnot. But don't just put yourself back to sleep. It is an opportunity for you to connect to a level of light that you would not connect to during the day. Why? Because during the day, it's like we are receiving this natural protective protection shield from the universe, represented by the sun, represented by Zeir Anpin, and we don't have that protection at night. And so that's one of the reasons why the body goes to sleep, because once it goes to sleep and the soul elevates, the soul goes straight to where it can be protected. But if for some reason that individual is woken up, it is an opportunity to turn that challenge. It is a challenge if you just wake up and you just like look at the ceiling and do nothing. You're sort of like exposed. And so this is why there are people that just like, look up and they're, and they can put themselves back to sleep because their mind is like, working out so much, thinking about all the things, aggravation and worries and the things that don't make you necessarily happy. It is because it is like the time that we are not just exposed, we are just vulnerable. We're more vulnerable at night than we are during the day. So if we have been already disturbed of our sleep, during our sleep, and we are awake, we went to the bathroom and we come back to bed, like take 5, 10, 15 minutes and do something that's gonna make you feel connecting. And whatever it is that you do, that do you feeling connected, if it is a meditation, if it is a scanning Zohar, if it is praying for somebody, if it is listening to music or reading something that is uplifting or spiritual, like dedicate this time that you're awake to focus your mind to something that is going to be uplifting. Why? Because if you make that effort during the nighttime, the result is going to be rewarded 10 times fold as if you were doing it during the day. And that is because you are exposed, you are vulnerable, but the ones that make an effort to uplift and to connect, they would be rewarded 10 times fold. Not just protection, but also downloading blessings and whatnot into your being, into your life, as you do that connection when you're supposed to sleep, and for some reason, something will woke you up. Let's do one more verse for the connection. תחזה שמה חדה קדישה, אית בגלופי אדוון דהו, שלטה מפלגו לליה ואלך, ואינו נתבן כלך סעפה, יוצא ממנון. דמן צפח כליל לון מם או כמוה. לסרבה המשרה, נון הווה אסתים להאי ולהאי. כדן כתרין כלילן, ובב דשמה קדישה, עדקין לב וסתים ממבואה, בתר דאולידת פתיחה עבד בחד, רשע דפתחה.
Come and see that there is a holy name of carved letters that rules from midnight onward. It is of these letters, Kaf, Lamed, final Kaf, Samech, Ayin, Pe, He, Yud, Aleph, Ayin, Vav, Tzadi, He, final Mem, final Nun, of final Mem, final Nun, final Tzadi, final Pe, final Kaf. Include them. Final Mem was explained in accordance with the secret of for the increase of the realm, which is spelled with a closed final mem in the middle of the word, which alludes to Binah during the domination of the left when the lights are enclosed within her. Nun was hiding the one and the other, meaning the bent nun and the secret meaning of the Virgil of Israel is fallen. She shall no more rise. Which conceals Binah and Malchut. And then the Sfirot were included, meaning that Malchut and Binah were included one within the other. And Binah was fallen like Malchut. The Vav and the holy name restored Malchut, which is the secret of Nun, and drew the left column upon her in the form of Vav. At that point, she rises from her fall. However, it closed up her springs, since due to the dominion of the left, the lights were congealed and frozen. Through this, Binah was concealed by the domination of the left column. That is why Binah is then considered a closed mem. After Binah gave birth to the Vav of Yud, Hey Vav Hey. Ooh, am I not supposed to say that out loud?
Okay.
Which is Zer and Pin. That is the secret of the central column, or Malchut gave birth to the soul. It became open in one end, meaning the closed final mem was opened at the bottom and became an opened mem.
Thank you. Okay, so those are one, I would say, tools that we have to combat those negative energies that are after humankind, that are incarnating in this world to elevate, to do their tikkun process. And so this process of incarnation and going through whatever it is that they're exposed to, all inclusive what we have discussed, is a proactive decision from the soul to go through that process. Now, it's like, imagine, I mean, I can't really understand, but there are some of the shows where, like extreme shows, where they do like all sorts of challenges with disgusting and horrible insects and whatnot, where they're like, one of the challenges to put their hand and go grab a key, and inside of that box that they cannot see, they know that there is like these humongous spiders. And they do it. Why they do it? Because at the end of all those challenges, there is an amazing prize. So, I mean, I just channel these examples. I don't know if it's a good one, but it's basically what the soul is doing on earth. It knows that there is all these challenges and all these demons and all these negative energies, but they know that at the end of all those challenges, there is a humongous prize for the soul that is experiencing, you know, life on earth. And so this is like a kind of what's happening here. But we are not coming toolless to do that work, to do that spiritual work. And this is one of the tasks of Kabbalah and the Zohar, etc., to teach us some of those tools that can help us do what we do anyways, but to do it in a better way. And what is it that the Zohar here is teaching us is that even if we don't understand, it's like we have like these spiritual swords against those negative energies, and those spiritual swords are all those combinations that the Zohar here is talking about, and I'm highlighting it on your screen. You don't have to understand it, just scanning it, meditating on them, visualizing them, printing them, or whatnot is what allows you. It's one of the tools, the Yud Ke Vav Ke, the Mansapach, but with the final letters. Those are all tools that we can use to combat and defeat those negative energies that are constantly around us. So those daily meditations and connections can help us to do and to accomplish that. Any questions? No questions is good. Thank you very much. Enjoy this
It's a good
glass of
reminder.
wine.
It's a good reminder about if you wake up in the middle of the night, because I remember that, but I don't often choose to do it because I just don't. I forget about the significance of it. So it's a very good reminder.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Yes, Michael?
No, I should say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And Hillary and Steve, enjoy your glass of wine. And everybody else, enjoy your week. And I'll see you, God willing, next Monday, same time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
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 Thank you.